What's up, comic and pop culture fans? This is James with Midhunter Comics, and today we're talking about X-Men, specifically underrated stuff like this one. I genuinely believe that X-Men and DC Comics are the next frontier of unrealized potential books. I just finished the season finale of X-Men 97 not even 24 hours ago, and yes, I actually did shed a couple tears at the end of episode 5. Couple that with the Deadpool speculation going on, and X-Men is really just starting to heat up. And to be honest, I was not the biggest X-Men guy. When I was a kid, I was into the animated show, and I have had to go back and learn the Claremont, the Byrne stuff, and I've formulated some opinions about some books that really left me scratching my head that they're not worth more. So I'm going to give you 10 books that are either underrated or maybe have just turned the corner of realized potential. I'm also going to give you 2 bonuses, so technically 12 here. This is going to be another Midhunter classic where we talk about the underrated stuff, so everything on this list is highly affordable. Let's start it off from the dollar bins. X-Men Alpha, number 1. Little 90s goodness here, and this is really 90s, just a fair warning. But first appearance of Dark Beast, first appearance of Holocaust, aka Nemesis, first appearance of Abyss, a horseman of the apocalypse, first appearance of Morph in the featureless form, which a lot of you animated show lovers are digging. First, Charles Lensher, the child of Magneto and Rogue. And yet all those things, you still find this thing in dollar bins. But what makes this an extra fun book is the fact that this is on incredibly tough paper. So there are a couple 9.9s of this because it's not standard comic book paper. A lot of potential in that one, so just keep an eye out. Next one's going to be Blink number 4 from 2001. This is the first appearance of Nocturne, the daughter of Scarlet Witch and Nightcrawler, obviously inheriting Daddy's blue fur. Nocturne kind of reminds me of like Jade with DC Comics, like this really big important character, and then you look up the first appearance and that's not as much as I thought it would be at all. Nocturne's the same thing, but even cheaper than the first appearance of Jade. This thing's like a $3 book. Maybe someone puts it up for $5 for near mint fresh. And I've come to learn that it's a very fan favorite character. And yet, the potential though isn't really being handled. Next time you're dollar bin diving, don't be scared by the Blink series. It's issue number 4, and it's a decent pickup. I think this next one might actually be the most expensive on the list, and it's a $20 book. First appearance of Nimrod, Advanced Sentinel from an alternate universe. This guy actually got a name drop in the final episode of X-Men 97. Honestly, I think the show is that popular that might actually have big implications. And it's pretty obvious that the season 2 of X-Men 97 is going to be incorporating a lot of that future Sentinel stuff. So I think it's a great use of a $20 bill to pick up a gorgeous copy of this thing. What did I say at the beginning of the video when I said that X-Men and DC are the next frontier of potential? Well, how about X-Men meets DC? X-Men and the Teen Titans, of course. This is a popular one. This is like a $10 book if you got a nice crispy copy. It is the first X-Men crossover into a DC title of several that came later. It's still the most popular one, but mainly the reason I bring it up, guys, this is the first appearance of the Source Wall. Yes, the Source Wall. It doesn't appear in just a regular DC issue. It appears in this crossover. That is the main wall that separates the multiverse from the source in DC Comics. If you don't know, the implications there are crazy. What an important phenomenon, and it's in this crossover book. So it's got the fan favorite thing going on, but it's also got a really notable key significance. And you still find it for $10, so wow. Oh, this next one is another one that falls into like the $2 category, and what? It doesn't make any sense to me. Uncanny X-Men 188, the first cameo of the Adversary. If you watched X-Men 97, that's the giant owl creature that was messing with Storm and Forge, which I thought was beautifully adapted from the comic's Life and Death arc. Most comic shops keep that at like the $2, $3 price tag just because they don't even really remark it as the first appearance of anything. And that may be because the first full appearance of the Adversary comes several issues later. But this is the first cameo, so you know that whole cameo thing, I view that as that's a first appearance. And yet it is completely overlooked. Don't understand it, whatever. Longshot number 3. This one is another one that's a bit more well known, but I've always been surprised by the value. First appearance of Mojo. This dude scared me really bad in the 90s and early 2000s, and he's become an instantly recognizable fan favorite villain in the X-Men universe. And he wasn't in Uncanny, and he wasn't in the Jim Lee X-Men run. He got his first appearance in the 4-part miniseries Longshot. The entire Longshot miniseries is loaded. I was actually wanting to do Spiral, but she also gets her first appearance in issue 1, which is also the first appearance of Longshot. So that book's pretty well known, so we're going to concentrate on issue 3, the first Mojo. Both Spiral and Mojo appearing in X-Men 97, pretty prominently, by the way. $15 for like a perfect copy, raw, never really seemed right to me. That was a head scratcher for sure, and I'm not so sure that's going to stay the same after X-Men 97. Let's give you another one that you can find in the dollar bin, another one that rarely even gets recognized as a key at all. 176, first Valerie Cooper, the government official for mutant regulatory practices, which led to the formation of X-Factor. I feel like this is Marvel's version of Vicky Vale. It's like, oh yeah, that's her first appearance, that's cool, but doesn't really do anything for value. And even though she's not an Omega-level mutant or whatever, I do think that she's an important character, and it doesn't hurt to pick one up for real cheap. Next one is going to be one that this video is late to. New X-Men 114. I've actually done some videos talking about the new X-Men run and how it's loaded up with keys, underrated books, how the 9.8 equivalents are kind of crazy expensive, some of the biggest jumps from raw to 9.8 values I've seen. Well, 114 finally got its light. First appearance of Cassandra Nova, the clone of Charles Xavier in utero from the astral plane. And she's the villain of the next Deadpool movie. Very prominently in the trailer. This book skated along too long at just a $10 value. It totally makes sense to me why it would be more now. Even without the movie, this is the issue that jump-started that whole run of the new X-Men, and I just think it's a big deal. We're getting down to it. X-Men Prime #1. Let's take a trip back to the dollar bin on this one. This is a double key. First appearance of Blacksmith, a mutant with an expertise in making weapons. Sound a little bit like Forge? Yeah, a little bit. And I think maybe that's why this one gets a little overlooked. But it is a double key. It is also the first Marrow as an adult. And just like how we started our list, it's not on standard comic book paper. There are 9.9s and even 10s of this thing, because that can happen sometimes, very rarely, with this crazy, perfect quality type books. They preserve really well over the years. Most copies I've ever seen are like potential 9.6, 9.8 candidates. I think at the high end, you're probably paying $5 for this thing, and it just seems worth it to me. Double key, gorgeous potential, I don't know. Just sweet 90s nostalgia goodness, man. Okay, then I'm going to give you 2 bonus ones. First one's going to be Magic #4. And oftentimes I'll have the full miniseries 1 through 4 of Ilyana Rasputin's Magic arc. It's a 4-part miniseries, came out in the 80s, and they sell like at $10 or $15 for the full series. And I'm talking like sometimes even newsstand, even minty newsstands selling for $15. So this run is horribly underrated. 4 is a much bigger deal than 1. People always grab 1. It's 4. That's the one where she becomes Darkchild, not to be confused with Rob Liefeld's Darkchild. That is basically Phoenix to Jean Grey as Darkchild is to Ilyana Rasputin, the queen of Limbo World and everything. And also Darkchild's going to have some tie-ins to our #1 spot you'll hear in just a second. But our second bonus I want to give you is actually a run. Uncanny X-Men 475 to 486, The Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire. Now, this is not a key-heavy run, right? A couple years ago, I was talking about on the channel, I don't really know X-Men too well. A couple people took it upon themselves to recommend some reading, and 99% of it was, of course, Claremont Burns stuff, and some of it was like, check out these kind of later issues. And I checked out this one, and I thought it was fantastic, and I thought it was palatable for someone who hadn't really gotten into it. I don't know if it comes in a trade paperback form. If it doesn't, it should. But I thought that was a particularly awesome run. Good lore, good everything, awesome battle scenes. So, X-Men 475 to 486, The Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire by Ed Brubaker. Can't go wrong with Ed Brubaker. All right, #1 is going to be 333. First appearance of Bastion. I have always priced this as a $3 book. Lately, I adjusted my business model at my claim sales where I don't even bring stuff under $5 to claim sales anymore, hardly at all. So this book was so slept on that it was not big enough to make the cutoff for my claim sales. I stuffed them all in my bins at the antique shop. I think I had like 25 copies of this thing, all priced at $3, near mint awesomeness. And right before this video, I went to the antique shop just to pluck them out, see if there were any 9.8 candidates. I missed it. Just like so many of us, we didn't see it coming and we missed it. This is like a $15 book now. Not a huge jump. It's not going to make you bankrupt. But from $3 to $15 kind of overnight because of the show, wow. And honestly, this had no business being a $3 book. That was always ridiculous. I understand that it's the 90s and X-Men was wildly popular, so they exist heavily out there. But even still, the show was wise to incorporate him as the big bad. Did anyone see this one coming? Let me know. I was too late, but maybe you were smarter than me. I'm sure I missed a bunch of them, and you can let me know down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. I will see you at the next video, and keep on hunting X-Men. Make sure to come on down to Sentiment Depot's Antiques and Collectibles, located at 238 West Delaware Ave in Pennington, New Jersey. Find so many great books for just $1 and the lowest prices on key comics around. Enjoy a huge selection of graded comics priced up to 20% lower than current fair market value. We are open from Wednesday to Sunday, closed Monday, Tuesday. You got a collection you want to sell? Bring that too. Can't wait to see you there.